Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect.
Wagwan people, Lumanny here, back in another episode of the Aston Villa save here on my channel. This one we are flying out the blocks with a game straight away up against Brentford here. There wasn't really too much to talk about going into this one. Obviously I usually give you the schedule, but I just wanted to get straight into games in this one, get going with the action. We're obviously on an incredible run in the Premier League at the moment, still yet to take a loss in the league. I think we have a draw or two draws to our name, so undefeated still in the Premier League at the moment, which is very nice going into February. So the Brentford lineup, Coleman in goal. I saw they had a bit of a slower backline, I felt, but then I saw Jonathan David, Keane, Lewis, Potter up top. And I knew that was going to be a problem for us for sure, but we do have our strongest lineup available in this one. I'm probably going to stick to mostly playing our strongest lineup in the Premier League and then have the rotational boys play the Europa League and the Cup games. We are moving into the knockout stages of the Europa League now, so they will be stronger teams. But I definitely want to try and wrap up this Premier League title. We've got a good lead at the moment, so I want to keep pushing on that and win it as soon as possible. Have a good early chance, but it is saved well by the keeper. It was a wet day, so you know me and wet days don't really coexist well. We have the second chance of the game as well, almost culling one in. Jonathan David then does show how much of a problem he's going to be able to be for us in this game. Finds the ball to Damsgaard, who lays it to Keane Lewis Potter, who for some reason takes a very early shot and ends up not being able to put it past the keeper. Then good press from us here means the keeper has to send it long. We do win the header down to Koku. He'll find Xavi Simons. Didn't really know where to go with it here, but we do manage to get the ball across to Doughty. He goes for the low cross, but it's not a great one. But the ex-Brentford man, Brian Mbuemo, gets a little bit lucky with a deflection and puts away the first goal of the game against his former side. Probably should have done the respectful celebration, but I didn't think about it at the time. I don't think it's that big a deal anyway. But yeah, it would be Brian Mbuemo putting away the first goal of the game for us. We pretty much had all of the threat in this game. There's one or two threats from Brentford, but we would get the second goal off of a very nice cross from Koku to the back post where Ansu Fati was stood in space. He nods past the keeper to make it 2. Not a goal that we've scored a lot of. I've tried it a couple times so far this season where we go for that back post cross, but generally I catch the wingers offside or they put the headers wide or over. But this time we do finish it off, and that was pretty much it for our threat. But late on, Jonathan David would break through with a nice outside of the foot shot to the near post. I think he just sold Emi Martinez with the eyes there. It looked like he was going to go across. I thought he was going to go across Emi Martinez, but he actually goes near post with the outside of the foot. It's a very nice finish. That does make it 2-1. We would have a couple late surges forward, but not actually manage to get any shots off, and that would be the end of the game. We would walk away 2-1 winners, so we are still keeping our unbelievable streak of winning in the Premier League alive, because we have, I don't know the amount of games for sure, but it's been a long time since we've dropped points in the league. We are storming to the title right now, as you can see here, 20 points ahead of Liverpool down in second, 21 points ahead of Arsenal, so we are absolutely flying. Ollie Watkins would pick up a bit of a knock, but thankfully it would only be for 5 days. But after the cup game against Southampton, business would really pick up. Spurs, United and Chelsea to face all in this episode. I have a feeling that this is a title deciding episode for us. If we manage to beat those 3 teams, you would have to say that the title should be ours come the end of the season. But first, we would move into the FA Cup. Now, you guys know that I'm not overly bothered about a cup run whatsoever. So I did rotate the team pretty heavily. We do have decent depth in the side, so when we rotate, we do still have a fairly good team. But obviously, if we do go out to Southampton, I wouldn't be devastated about it. But I would still prefer just to keep momentum on our side and keep grinding forward with wins in all competitions. But like I say, it is a rotated side for us. Southampton put out a pretty strong side for them, but you can see for us, rotational over, none of the first team boys factored into the first 11. I think we had a couple of them on the bench. Yeah, Bissek, Watkins on the bench, Wagnerman as well, but everybody else is a rotational player. I even brought Berenchea in instead of Onana in this one, alongside Kobe Mainu. Now, the rotational boys haven't been the most promising in the past when we've used them, but 4 minutes in here, Morgan Rogers would slip through Brian Mbeumo, who did score in our last game, and would continue that goal scoring streak to put us 1-0 up in the FA Cup against Southampton. Nice little curled shot there, puts it past the keeper. Easy first goal for us 4 minutes in. And that's pretty much exactly how you want to start things in the Cup, in any match. 5 minutes in, get a goal. If we can hang on to it, I'd be happy with that. If we don't, we don't. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a lead that lasted for very long. As you can see, in the 6th minute, Southampton would come forward. Danso here, I thought, would get the ball, but somehow doesn't manage to hold off Fernandez. Fernandez then does get past him and tucks the ball past Kaminsky. Danso he's not who I think he should be. He's an okay player, and I think he does well in a rotational role when we bring him on late, but for some reason that I'm trying to get him to hold off Fernandez, and instead he goes for a tackle animation, and I just don't know why he did that. But yeah, that would be basically it for normal time. Not a lot going on. We would be pressing them a lot, we'd have a lot of opportunities, but we wouldn't tuck any of them away. So it would see us going into extra time against Southampton, which isn't really something I wanted to be doing with the amount of fixtures that we've got to play, but we would win the ball back early. You can see there I've subbed on Ollie Watkins. Jaden Philogene would take his man on, try to go for a strike, but it's a good tackle. We would then keep the pressure up. Jackson Price picking it up on the right, playing in Reo Hatate. Hatate would run into the box. I did look to square it for a minute, but there was no options on, so Hatate takes a shot on himself, and Hatate finishes the shot. Very powerful shot past Aaron Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale might have even got a hand to it, but couldn't do enough to put it round the post. So we do take a 2-1 lead, which is very nice, even though we are in extra time. I wasn't planning on using two. You can see, I think there, Ramsdale just gets a little hand to it, but not enough on it to push it round. But yeah, I wasn't happy about being in extra time, but the rotational lads stepping up there. Late on into the second half, Adu off the bench would roll the ball into Philogene. Philogene had an incredible amount of stamina, to be fair. I can't remember if we subbed him on, if he started. I think he started. Had a great amount of stamina, but we would roll it into him. He would tuck it away to make it 3-1. And obviously, if you hadn't guessed, you probably will know now, that will see us through to the next round, which is very nice for us. It's a nice little ball from Adu as well. Puts it just in that space where Philogene can run on to the end of it. Good finish from Philogene. Not got a lot of playtime under us, but has actually shown up pretty decently for us when we've needed. And like I said, that would see us through 3-1 winners. So we will continue on in the FA Cup. Like I said, unless we get to the very, very late stages, the rotational boys will be playing most of these games. Even then, unless the league is completely wrapped up, the rotational boys will play a lot of it. And not much to talk about on the build-up to the next game, which would be a very big game for us away at Spurs. These are the proving games for us now, I would say. These are the ones that we need to win to really solidify ourselves as the top billing. If we're beating the top sides that are around that top 6, then there's absolutely no reason. I mean, it's feeling pretty much like we are going to win the Premier League. I don't like to get overconfident and say like I think we're favourites. I know we probably are, but I just don't like to put it out in the air in case something goes massively wrong, because like I keep saying, we are only probably one injury away from things completely changing. But very interesting team here for Spurs. Quansah and Van Dijk, the partnership at the back. But basically the rest of their team is exactly the same as it has been for the past couple of seasons. They've just brought in Liverpool's backline basically. But like I said, we rotated our team, so we do have our strongest side available. That is what we will keep doing, especially with the quality of teams that we're playing against in this episode. So yeah, big proving game for us. And to be 100% honest with you, we did struggle a lot early on in this game. Solanke gets rolled through early, doesn't manage to make anything count from it. But they would come forward again with Kulusevski, another good shot, but another good save from Emi Martinez, showing up huge. We would have an attack late on where we go for the low cross. Ollie Watkins would just manage to reach a foot to it to get the shot away, but it would be saved well by Vicario. Once again, Spurs would come forward early into the second, but it's a great tackle from Bissek there to send them back the other way. We would then kind of late on start to take control. We'd roll through Leon Bailey, and Leon Bailey absolutely blasting the ball past Vicario in the 74th minute to give us the 1-0 lead, which I was starting to feel like this was going to be one that slipped away from us, either to a loss to a Tottenham breakaway or maybe a 0-0 draw, which wouldn't be the worst result obviously, but with the streak that we're on, I'd like to keep it going. But yeah, that would see us 1-0 up. Spurs would then get a lot of possession of the ball. Ferland Mendy would somehow dance straight through the middle, but it seemed like he hesitated a little bit when it came to taking the shot. Didn't take it first time and wouldn't score a goal, and that would be how it would finish, 1-0 to us. So a resolute performance, you could say, maybe scraping through a little bit, but I like to think of it a little bit more positively. We hold on. We had some good saves from Emi. We had some good defensive work from Bissek and Pau Torres. So yeah, it's a result that we needed. It's disappointing to maybe not score a couple more, but Spurs were troubling us, and I'll happily walk away with a 1-0. See, we had the better of the opportunities, but Spurs were still in there. And you can see below us, the lead, or the contender, direct contender to us, keeps swapping, but we are just powering through at the top. Here now, I was kind of looking to see what I could do with Rio Tate. I'm trying to get him to learn that CDM role, but what I found very interesting is that he can learn right back, centre back and left back quicker than he can learn CDM, which didn't seem to make any sense to me. I would then decide to renew Kaminsky's contract. I think he's been a decent rotational player for us. 33 years old. He's never going to be a starter. He knows he's not going to be a starter. We're probably not going to find a better rotational player, so I decided we just renew him. We would then move on to renewing a bunch of other contracts here. Boubacar Kamara would be the first one that we go for. I would then try and offer Leon Bailey another contract, just because I don't want him to get into that last year and then him try and leave for free or whatever if he decided he wanted to run his contract down. However, they wouldn't agree a deal with us straight away. I then offered John Duran another contract because he was about to only have a year next season. So I thought we'll offer him just a rotational role, and then we could decide what to do with him in the summer, whether we are going to keep hold of him or whether we're going to send him on his way and look for somebody else, because we might look for a new starter striker. Bissek, I thought, deserved a new contract because he has been absolutely incredible for us. He was only meant to be a rotational player and has fully taken Danso's role in the team, so he definitely deserved a new contract. Couple things about our players here. You can see we also then were told that we were playing Ajax in the round of 16, but then when I went on the calendar, we're actually playing Lyon. So yeah, I don't know what that news story was talking about, but But yeah, that is confirmed. In the round of 16 we will be playing against Lyon. Should be an interesting battle against them. I don't think they're back to what their former glories used to be, but they're always going to be a bit of a tough team to get past because they've got that kind of European pedigree that maybe Aston Villa haven't had for a couple of years. You can then see a big matchup here, two big matchups should I say, City, Bayern Munich and PSG. I can't actually remember who the other team was. Real Madrid. Two big round of 16 matches in the Champions League. The playoffs of the Europa League, no, Conference League, hadn't been done yet, so couldn't show you those.
Which side will step up and deliver?
But yeah, into the next match, which is obviously another very tough one coming up against United in this one, I believe it is. For some reason I didn't show the intros in this one. Not sure why I skipped those, but I did. Don't need to talk about our lineup because obviously you know by now there'll probably only be one or two changes should we need it, which will be Ansu Fati or Bailey should we need the rotation on fitness. But the Manchester United lineup is a very interesting one because they've got a strong team. Simon in goal, Dalit Tapsoba, Mendes, Mazraoui, Palacios Ugarte, Rodrigo, Thuram, Fernandes and Son, their front four. So a very, very strong front four from the United side. We are at home, so I did have a bit of confidence in the fact that we have the home crowd. We would break through early with Ansu Fati and we would be taken down by Mazraoui in a bit of a cynical challenge. Wasn't sure how harshly the referee would look on this one, but as you can see, he looked on it very harshly and it would be a red card for Mazraoui very early on in this game. He didn't really go for the ball, didn't get any of the ball either, so can understand why. Ten Hag, you can see here, is livid. Probably should be thankful because he's not even in the job in real life. We would switch to Koku here because obviously I know Koku's got those great free kick stats. Tried to go for a little curling one over the wall. It wasn't too far away in the end, to be fair. But now from this point, we completely switched our mentality. I was going to go for full counter-attack, but after they go down to 10 men, we know that we can just pile on the pressure. And not long after the red card, we would pile on the pressure, chipping the ball over the top to Ansu Fati. He brings it down well, smashes it home, 1-0. Very quickly after the red card. You can see they're still playing in the back three here. They didn't actually sub anyone to make a change. So they were pretty much open to our attacks because it was 3v3. When you can get Xavi Simons up there as well, it's 4v3. From the corner, we would manage to score a goal as well. A very good goal from Boubacar Kamara. Maybe a little bit of questionable goalkeeping from Unai Simon. Kamara would head the ball into the ground and it would bounce up. But it looked more like maybe Simon was distracted by the player on the line. I don't like these slow down replays, it annoys me. But yeah, Boubacar Kamara up against Son. I'm not really sure how that went down. It came off the top of his head, but you can see he taps over as behind Simon there. So I'm not sure if maybe that put him off a bit. But it wouldn't matter to us because we would go 2-0 up into the second half. Things pretty much stayed exactly the same. Ollie Watkins would get rolled through and give us our third goal of the game. Still no changes at the back in the second half from what I can remember. And I'm pretty sure they still just kept going with that back. Yeah, you can see it here. They kept going with that back three and it was not working because Nuno Mendes was still trying to push forward. So they're basically just playing without a right back, which was very strange for them. Leon Bailey then would break into the box, lay it back to Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins would tuck away another one to make it 4. And I could not really ask for a more ideal day out against United. We know that they are one of those teams that step up their levels ridiculously in career mode and they will always give you trouble, but them not making the change to put on another defender really screwed him out of any result. And we just kept turning the screw. Once again, we would break down the wing with Leon Bailey, find Xavi Simons, and that's where you're starting to see the 4v3 taking shape and taking hold. And that would see us make it 5-0 with Leon Bailey after that counter-attack. And it is a very decisive result for us, a very decisive win for us over United. No point trying to hang on like there's any sort of what am I trying to say, tension or whatever in the air around this game. We completely just pushed this one to the side, win the game pretty easily. They would have a late corner, but it wouldn't come to anything, and that's it. Another win in the Premier League for us, keeping our undefeated streak rolling. Another 3 points and a big win over United, who were starting to push up the table into that top 6. So we are very much rolling and strolling our way to this Premier League title right now. Doesn't feel like anybody is capable of stopping us right now, if I'm honest, besides from ourselves. So, and even at that point, with the buffer that we currently have, I think we're now 23 points ahead. I don't even know if anyone's got what it takes to catch us. So it's looking like we're going to be Premier League champions come the end of this season. And with that, I just wanted to get into the next big game because I felt like I was on a roll. I felt like the boys were flowing, everything was going well, and we are at home again, this time against Chelsea. Again, another one of those teams that can catch you off guard if you're not careful, but with how we're playing, I have all confidence that we can take on anybody right now this season. So I'm kind of annoyed that we're not in the Champions League because I would like to see how we compete against the big European sides. Obviously, we've had some slip-ups in the Europa League this season. I'm not going to act like we're absolutely stomping every competition. Besiktas and Union Berlin gave us some trouble, but as we see the Chelsea lineup here, I thought it was interesting that they had a Derabayo and Chalobah in the back line. Lavia in there as well. Luciano Acosta is still playing for them, which is a very interesting one because the 2 times I've played against Acosta, he's not been very good. But Chelsea seem to like him. He's very easy to push off the ball. We would play a lovely bit of passing football here to put Xavi Simons through. He would take the shot, but it would bounce off the inside of the post, which was very unlucky for us there. We would then be under a bit of pressure from Cole Palmer coming here. Doughty didn't manage to get the tackle in. It was a good save off of this shot from Nicholas Jackson, I think it is, up top for them. But then we would quickly hit the counter-attack button, and Buemo stepping inside then plays a very nice ball to find Wagnerman out wide. That would drag a Darabayo out wide, cut it back to Xavi Simons. He would roll inside, and a great shot, but saved, would fall then to Ansu Fati, who puts away the deflection, and another lead for us in the Premier League. Like I say, we just feel unstoppable right now. We are just rolling, we're playing with confidence, the movement is nice. It's very nice from Xavi Simons dropping the shoulder to get the space for the shot. The keeper probably should do a bit better, not push it straight back across so Ansu Fati can just tap it in, but we're going to take it every single time. Did take us to the second half, so you can tell it's a tougher game because we are struggling a little bit more. But there we go, 1-0 up. Wagnerman again, the same combination, chips it into Ollie Watkins, who pops it up with his chest and then absolutely blasts a volley into the bottom corner. 2-0 to us now in the 71st minute. We're absolutely rolling. Chelsea really haven't threatened us so far in this game either. They had a couple of attempts, but nothing that I thought was camera worthy. You can see there, nice little chip as Chalobah's trying to come in for the header. Watkins then volleys it bottom corner. 2-0, and the Premier League title is beckoning for us to come and take it because there is not a team in the league right now stopping us. We then crowd them out on their late attack. Would be a 2-0 victory for us. Yeah, I really don't have any words for what's going on. We just feel absolutely unstoppable. You can see they had more of the possession but didn't do a lot with it. We're rolling 23 points in February. It's incredible. We would then find out that our next game in the FA Cup would be up against Huddersfield. But first, we would have a youth update, which we've got absolutely stacked youth academy at the moment, but nobody is quite hitting the standard who's ready to come up yet. So we've got this academy full of players that could potentially be world beaters at some point, but they're just not there yet. So it's a little bit frustrating. We would pick up a couple others on this scouting. I think 1 or 2 of them were like 75 potential overall with like 90 potential, but if I'm honest, none of them came out as high as I thought they were going to. I did drop a Ghanaian striker here because his potential was only 84, and we picked up a new striker who his potential was 91. So we do decide to go for him instead. You can see we've got a couple players, but I'm having to be a lot more stringent on what I'm willing to bring in now, because like I said, we've got a lot of players. You can see that their potentials aren't dropping, but their overalls aren't shooting up either. So we're kind of in this like weird mid-ground where they're not ready to come up, but they're also, a lot of them, like these top 4 here, they're probably too good to be in the youth academy, but they're not good enough to be in the first team. It's very frustrating right now. But we would wrap up the game portion of this episode with the next round against Huddersfield in the FA Cup. Again, as you can probably tell, it's going to be a heavily rotated side for us in this one. Not a single starter. Philogene coming in, Price, who's been very impressive. I think we even take a lot of the starters off the bench this time. Oh, we do have Cuckoo, Bissek and Watkins on the bench, to be fair. So I did decide to put Morgan Rogers back in that number 10 role instead of Ray Hatate, just because I feel like Morgan Rogers should be able to play that 10 role. He hasn't been playing the winger role very well at all anytime we've put him out there, so I've kind of lost faith in him in there, but I feel like he should be able to play that number 10 role, but he needs the game time to kind of learn it more and adapt to it a bit more, so that's what I'm going to try and do with him. Hopefully it will work. Not a lot of players that I know in the Huddersfield lineup, if I'm honest. I believe they're still Championship at the moment. So I was feeling like this should be a game that we could pretty much handedly win. Jackson Price starts early, dribbling forward here, lays it back off to Morgan Rogers, who would dribble through a bit as well. Just looking for the pass. Jackson Price will find the space, roll him in, and that would be the first goal of the game within the first 2 minutes of the game. And once that goal went in, though we are big proponents of conceding after scoring first in the FA Cup, I kind of felt like, yeah, we know how to play around a team like this. They're sitting in, they're waiting for us to get the ball. To be honest, it was a pretty bland game all in all. Not a lot of action at either side. Huddersfield would keep punting the ball long and eventually get a couple of knockdowns. Danso would get a good tackle in here to find Onana. He would find John Duran, who would step around his man nicely and then fire one into the corner of the goal to make it 2-0. John Duran not scored a lot of goals for us so far this season, but is starting to step up and starting to be a bit more of that rotational striker that I need. He just needs to get a bit more clinical in front of goal, which I think is very funny because in real life at the moment, John Duran's absolutely flying and Ollie Watkins is struggling for goals. So it's kind of like the opposite to what our save is. And that would be it. We would walk away 2-0 winners over Huddersfield. We would move on in the FA Cup, which again, like I said, if we can organically get a cup run without me having to force the first team players to play loads of football. We're getting a couple youth players on the pitch as well at the moment, which is getting them a nice bit of game time, helping them grow. But yeah, we are through in the FA Cup. We will see next episode who we will be drawn against as we move forward. But that would be the end for this one. Not anything else to talk about, nothing else to do. Next episode we will move on to our Europa League knockout stage for the first time, so we'll get to see that. But yeah, that is the end of this one as we come towards the end of this season. Please like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get notified by when the next episode is available to you. And, as always, I hope to see you in it. Oh, as you see there that we got drawn against Leicester in the next round. But yeah, I hope to see you in it. Peace.
You're loving me, it goes like